Welcome to Porn Talk. End the porn habit. Reclaim your power. Eric Zuzak, aka Powerful Eric, has been in 12-step programs for almost 20 years with little success. Then one day he stumbled on the science of mindfulness to combat addictions. Powerless Eric died and Powerful Eric was born. Learn from Eric's mistakes and get empowered now. Here's your host, Powerful Eric.
Welcome to Season 2 of Porn Talk. The purpose of this show is to help you end the porn habit and reclaim your power. But this is not just about breaking addictions, it's about breaking belief systems. We are bound by self-imposed and societal chains. Break those rusty old chains and get empowered right now. Today we're going to have a good time with my friend who teaches classes on things like the will to change, the power to heal, mastering mindfulness, awakening the wounded healer, ascension. So welcome back, our knight of metaphysics and all-around great guy, my good friend, William Duffin, a.k.a. Happy Medium Will. Welcome back, Sir William.
Thank you.
William, tell me, I listed a bunch of your classes. What's your latest class that you're teaching?
I just started another one yesterday, the first in a series of 5, called Awakening the Wounded Healer, a Kundalini and Chakra workshop.
So tell us a little more about that. What's Awakening the Wounded Healer?
Okay, well, chakras are a Sanskrit term for energy centers in your body, and most resources that you look at will focus on the 7 main ones in your body. And then Kundalini is an energy that each of us have that when activated goes up through the chakras along your spine and interacts with them. And then I call it Awakening the Wounded Healer because of basically Carl Jung's work and the archetype of the person who has been wounded, healed his or her wound, and then teaches what they learned from that to other people.
Okay.
I appreciate you inviting me here today. I was wondering, is there some reason we haven't heard from you for a while?
Well, I guess you could say I am one of those wounded healers. I'm helping people to heal from porn, but I had a slip, and not just a slip, I had really a relapse.
Would you like to share what happened?
Well, not really, but I'm going to.
Okay.
I actually had several people say, no, do not tell, you're the guy. Don't tell them about this. And I thought a lot about it and said, no, I want to be on the up and up. And so I did have a slip, I had a relapse. What had happened, I had started a new job. I was super stressed. I was on a 100% commission-based job. Sales, and my second son was born, and because of that we were getting very little sleep, and so my relationship with my wife was stressed. And when I started my new job, I stopped doing the things that kept me sober in the first place. I stopped meditating, and basically for a while I was like a dry drunk. I wasn't acting out, but I wasn't doing the things that kept me sober, and I didn't feel like I could do another show. That's why not another show. I didn't want to be a hypocrite, so I just stopped.
Well, I, for one, appreciate your authenticity.
Thank you.
So you're back now in the groove with the new season?
Yeah. What I wanted to share, what I learned. I don't want to be one of those perfect gurus, these people that portray themselves of having all the answers. I am a flawed human being. And I will tell you, I don't have all the answers, but I've got some. And I still believe that using the science of mindfulness is one of the best ways to break addictions.
Absolutely. It's the foundation of everything I do and teach as well. Is there anything you'd like to share about what you learned in this experience?
One of the things I learned is with most addictions, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And I don't know many people at least with porn addiction, that have been able to just completely stop and never, ever do it again. So, to be easy on yourself, you may slip up every now and again. And this is one of the other things other things I learned is that this is one of the reasons why I don't encourage people to count days. In 12-step programs, you count how many days that you've been sober, and you get a coin every time you're a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever. A lot of people kind of wear that as a badge of honor. But then what happens, oftentimes if somebody has, let's say they're 5 years sober and then they have a slip, well, then it's this huge deal. People spiral out of control, and because they have to start back to the one-day chip. For me, I found it to be counterproductive. There's also the people that may have a lot of long-term sobriety. They are what are considered dry drunks. No, they're not viewing porn, or no, they're not acting out with alcohol or whatever their drug of choice is, but they're not doing the thing, but their life is a mess. They are a mess. They're not doing the things to keep them sober. They're just white knuckling it. So what? Big deal if you're sober 5 years and your life is a mess. If your life is a mess and you're being a dick.
I'm putting myself in that person's place and asking, well, first of all, here's what this makes me think of. So I've been sober for 5 years. I have a slip. I have a relapse. So what you're describing is, in my mind now, that whole 5 years was for nothing.
That's
because I've relapsed.
Yeah, it's kind of what I'm alluding to. I mean, what I mean is, then you go back to your one-day chip.
Okay.
So you got your
because what seems to me like, if I'm that person, I've have 5 years and 1 day minus that week I was drinking.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the way a lot of people look at it, and that's the healthier way to look at it. But for me, it was counterproductive. Right. For example, when you get to 2 years, then you are, I feel like, well, gosh, I got to hold on and make it another day or another year. And it was just counterproductive for me to count days. So it was stressful. It added stress.
Right. It kind of makes you obsess over the time.
Yes.
Okay. Can I tell you what I've learned about the mind?
Sure, please.
Okay. A friend of mine, Dawn Ferguson, who's a hypnotherapist.
Yeah, she's been on the show.
Okay. She told me it takes 91 days to change a habit. It takes 91 days to change your thinking on something. So if you can do something for 91 days, you can do it forever. So if you've done it for 92 days or a year or 5 years and you have a slip up, well, your brain is already reconditioned. You can go back to that. It's a lot easier to get back on the bike than it was 5 years ago. So that's one thing I learned about the physiology of the brain. Okay. Another thing I've learned about the metaphysics of it, if you will, we could put this in terms of chakras. We could put this in terms of spirits. We could put it in a lot of different frameworks. But since I just taught this chakra class, if you can imagine, there's 7 basic main chakras along your spine, from the top of your head to the bottom of your spine. These chakras have energy memories. Just like the brain, you have energetic bodies. To put it in terms of addiction, you might say, I'm fighting that same thing the way I'm fighting my brain conditioning or my brain patterns, my thought patterns, okay? On the other side of that coin is, as you change your behavior and change the thoughts behind that behavior, you're also healing the energy in your body and the traumas that cause it in the first place. That's why I'm an advocate of therapy, good old-fashioned therapy as well. Because if I like that term you use, white knuckling. If you're just willing yourself to not drink, but you're not really healing yourself, well, then that's the way it's going to be basically until you change the causal thoughts and heal the wound that caused it in the first place. Thank you for bringing me back in my little brain to Awakening the Wounded Healer. That's the title. It's all about healing your wounds. I'll tell you another thing I learned from psychology when I was in college about 8 million years ago. A client comes to you and describes a behavior. One of the questions that you're asking yourself, and sometimes you actually ask the client, what benefit do you get from that behavior? Mm-hmm. Okay? Yeah. So the benefit you get from that behavior addresses the wound that you are masking with the behavior. And you mentioned another class that I teach called The Will to Change, the Power to Heal. And that class, we talk about that in very frank terms. We talk about wounds, the masks we wear, i.e., how we cope with that wound, and how to heal it. Because we look at the causal thought behind it. And there are books on this stuff too, where you can look up a disease, a disorder, or a behavior pattern and research like the causal thought behind it.
Yeah, there actually is a book that comes to my mind is by Louise Hay.
You Can Heal Your Life.
Yeah. There's that book too, but there's also Heal Your Body, I think it's called.
Yeah, Louise Hay is one, and I like the one by Lise Bourbeau. She's Canadian, and she wrote one called Your Body's Telling You to Love Yourself. Another subject for another day.
Right. Let's see, I was talking about the dry drunk.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I advocate, rather than just counting days on what you are not doing and rewarding yourself for not doing something, is to do the complete opposite. Is to count the days that maybe that you're exercising and you reward yourself for that. Count the days that you're meditating and reward yourself for that. Reward yourself for something that you're doing rather than rewarding yourself for something that you're not doing. And like I've said before, how many things out there are you rewarded for not doing anything? I can't think of a whole lot.
What would you suggest they reward themselves with?
Well, let me answer that this way. In 12-step programs, if you're not acting out, you're rewarded with a coin. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with it. That works for some people. Didn't work for me. But what I'm suggesting, instead of rewarding yourself for not doing pornography or not drinking alcohol or whatever, is to set a goal for yourself to add something in your life to replace the behavior, like exercise, like meditation. So when you do things like that, that in and of itself is a reward. Or I exercised for 5 days in a row. That's really important. So I would encourage you to count days that way rather than, because tell me metaphysically, what happens if you concentrate on, you say to yourself, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm not going to view porn today. I'm not going to view porn today.
Okay, so when you say, I'm not going to look at porn, what's a picture in your head? Porn. Exactly. The subconscious mind does not understand a negative statement. So when you say you're not going to do something, like I'm driving down 270 saying, I'm not going to get in a wreck. I'm not going to get in a wreck. I'm not going to get in a wreck. The picture in your head is a wreck almost every time because that's the way the mind works. So you must state it positively. Right. So you say, I'm going to be healthy today. I choose health. Well, whatever words work for you. Yeah. I'm a safe driver. The drivers around me are all focused on the road. Something like that.
Yeah. So that's what I would advocate, is focusing on bringing something positive into your life rather than focusing on the porn. I'm going to exercise today rather than I'm going to not view porn today.
Don't say I'm going to. Say I am. I exercise. I choose health. If you say I'm going to or I will, you put it out in the future, which it makes it, it distances it. And you're like, again, what I've learned is what's important is the picture in your head. Right. And so if it puts it out there in the future, you want it to be right here with you in the present.
Yeah. And, the pictures in your head, porn put some really can be disturbing pictures in your head. And, I'm not judging anyone that chooses to view porn or not view porn. It's just, for me, those pictures in my head made me feel really bad about myself. For me, porn made my self-esteem really low, and I couldn't do it. And I was online, and there's this one group that is about porn, and they enjoy the porn, and they don't feel bad about it, and more power to them. But it would always make me feel really bad about myself. So that's why I choose not to view porn.
There was a while that I had a sign, a little handwritten note above my TV. It said, "Are you doing what you really want to do?" So that's a question I would ask in a position like that, is like, oh, I access porn or I indulge in this addiction. Am I doing what I really want to do?
No, it was always a coping mechanism.
Right. For you, it's obviously no.
Yeah. It was an escape.
Mm-hmm. At the very least, it's a distraction.
Right.
Eric, last time we met, you had this mascot created, and you were asking people to submit names for it. Whatever happened with that?
Yeah, well, I have a winner.
Okay.
And his name, well, not the person's name, because
right.
Of course they're going to be anonymous, is Raging Richard. And William, you want to tell everybody what Raging Richard looks like?
It looks like a walking penis with a single eyeball. It's like a penis with arms and legs, and the head of the penis is an eyeball.
Yeah, and he's carrying a smartphone. He's intently looking at his smartphone
with an eye popping out.
Yeah, so his name is officially Raging Richard, and also the person that submitted the name gets a free session with me.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Raging Richard, don't be a dick.
Oh boy, because we love puns. And now is all this all in the same place? PowerfulEric.com.
Yes, you can all just get it all at PowerfulEric.com. I mean, there is a link there that will take you to porntalk.org if you want to go that way too. But yes, you can see Raging Richard at PowerfulEric.com, and he is our official mascot, and he's intently looking at his smartphone. And you had brought up the word distraction. Mm-hmm. And that's what Raging Richard here is. He's distracting himself. And Raging Richard, he's really pissed off. And, I thought that maybe I'm being selfish with that name for him, because once the porn was removed, it's like, man, I'm really pissed off about a lot of stuff. I'm raging at the world about different things, about, politics or whatever.
You realize that about yourself?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, because the porn is just masking negative emotions. And for me, a big one is anger, rage, and even a lot of it, anger at myself. One of the things I was mad at myself is we got one of these Amazon Fire Sticks. And for those of you that don't know what it is, basically it allows you to watch a bunch of different television shows on your TV. And what I didn't realize once I had it installed is that it, in addition to all the TV shows, it has a built-in browser. And there's no way to filter the porn on the browser. In fact, it even has a privacy tab on it. So there's no way to filter the porn. And the one thing you can do is you can put a parental control on there for a code to block having access to the browser. But if the browser is accessible, there's no way to filter the porn. And I had exploited that hole. I do have porn filters on all my digital devices. And so I was able to access porn that way. So for those of you that do have an Amazon Fire Stick, I don't know about the old ones, but I know the new one for sure. Amazon Fire Stick is an wide open door for porn. If you have kids that are using the Amazon Fire Stick, you can 100% access to the most hardcore porn on the entire planet. So I was angry at myself for our one, not patching that hole right away. And how I did fix that is I had my wife put on the parental controls and put on a code. So now I cannot access the browser through the Amazon Fire Stick. And also I looked into, filtering it. And then as of right now, there is no filter available for it. If someone does come across a filter available, if they could please email me at eric@powerfuleric.com to let me know, because it is a wide open door. So, William, I digressed into the Amazon Fire Stick, but how does porn affect a person metaphysically as opposed to having sex in a loving relationship?
Great question. first of all, there's what we talked about how the mind works and addiction. So viewed as an addiction, well, we pretty much covered that. But then you could look at what I would call the frequency of vibration. Okay? Like in your example, I indulged in this behavior and I felt bad about it. That lowers your vibration. Gosh, I mean, for me, that's enough right there to change my behavior. But let's say for some people it's not. So it keeps you engrossed in the physical world. There's your bottom line. Anything like porn, especially if it's an addiction, if it's something you can't stop doing, it keeps you engrossed in the physical world. And then I would ask, what's the goal of being here in human life? Are you here to just beat it all day long? Remember that one session we were doing and that I said meditate or masturbate is your choice, you know? It's like, to me, it's like that, Eric. It's like, what am I doing with my life? You know, is this what I really want to do? What are my priorities? And if you don't care, I probably can't change your mind. And Eric probably can't change your mind. You know, if that's what you want to do, then that's what you're going to do. But if you have any inclination to better yourself, to raise your vibration, to fulfill your purpose, to be truly happy and not just indulge in distraction and be engrossed in the physical world, well, then every moment is a choice. Every thought is a choice. Every feeling is a choice. So when you indulge in those behaviors, I am reinforcing physiological neuron patterns in my brain. I'm lowering my vibration. I am beating myself up. You know, it's on so many levels, you are doing yourself harm.
Right. You'd mentioned lowering your vibration with porn. So what about sex within a loving relationship?
Well, I believe if it's a truly loving relationship, it'll raise your vibration because you're increasing the amount of love in the world, basically. You know, by making love, creating love, expressing love, you know, not just, you know, so to me, any expression of love is good. Love with friends, there's romantic love, there's love with family, there's love of all humankind, you know, and any expression of love is going to do good in yourself and in the world. But again, indulging in distraction, acting out, it lowers your vibration.
And can you expand on that for people? What do you mean by raising and lowering your vibration?
In a lot of different philosophies or a lot of different schools of thought, okay? Well, what do I mean by raise my vibration? I would ask, what do you visualize when you say raise my vibration? You know, for some people it just means be happy. But the danger with that term, be happy, is with a lot of people in our society, it seems like be happy means be content. Like, oh yeah, I'm happy because I had an orgasm and now I'm going to take a nap. That's happiness. Well, like I said, if that's happiness for you, then okay, that's your life that you've chosen. But for me, happiness is a much bigger experience than just self-indulgence. So when you raise your vibration, you are doing what you came here to do. For instance, fulfilling your higher purpose.
So how can someone, instead of focusing on not viewing pornography or not acting out to pornography or not engaging with their addiction, what are some things that they can do to raise their vibration?
Well, to me, the most fundamental thing is to meditate. And meditation can take a lot of different forms. I'm actually going to start teaching this class in March called Ascension. It's based on the material by Joshua David Stone. Yeah, Joshua David Stone. It's incredible material, and frankly, it's like a lot of different things, it's just one avenue. This is one person's, this one man had these insights. He wrote them down. And what I find really interesting, some people find it kind of like conflicting. I find it extremely interesting that these things are all related. The higher purpose of religion, the ascension material, the ancient technique of yoga. So whether you look back in the Hindu tradition of chakras and kundalini, if you go to the East and look at qigong, and the Japanese is reiki, through every culture throughout time, there have been people who want to help each other raise their vibration or be closer to God, or whatever words you want to use. So to me, I, first of all, am doing what appeals to me, what works for me, and I am basically sharing what I've learned with other people.
Right. So you mentioned meditation as one way to raise your vibration. What are some other things that someone who's addicted could do to raise their vibration?
Physical activity. Fantastic. A gentle one like qigong or yoga, a more active one like martial arts. I find that being in your body, increasing the awareness of your body is really important. One reason is, we've already discussed, porn and other addictions are a distraction. It takes you out of your body. You're unaware of your body. Maybe you're aware of one very part of your body, specific part of your body. But you know what I mean? It's not helping you be a whole and complete person.
Right.
So anything that like, I like physical activity. Like lately I've just been going for walks, but I did do martial arts for a while. I know Eric does martial arts. It's very helpful to do an activity that like brings your awareness all the way out to your toes and fingers, So physical activity is good. A mindful. So I love this thing you picked up called Mindful Habit. I like the title. I like everything about it. Because a mindfulness meditation is really helpful. Do you want a specific thing to use? Of course, you can go online and look. I use an app called the Insight Timer. It's free. It has all different kinds of meditations on it, including mindfulness meditations. I probably once or twice a week actually use that to get a good night's sleep too. Mindfulness. Continually bring your attention back to the present. Continually bring your attention into your body. Being aware of your body. Being aware of your body's needs. What's happening in your body. And I honestly have a hard time explaining why that is. It's very helpful. And I've heard other people say the same thing. People who teach and practice yoga say the same thing. Martial arts. Especially if you are fortunate to be in a martial arts school that has a mindful teacher, who teaches it that way. Because when I was in college, that's the teacher I had. He just had a very small class, did it just anyway. Point being, he said, like, feel the energy move through your arm, not to your hand, which nobody ever said that to me before, but I just did. I felt it, so things that bring your attention to the present, bring your attention into your body are very helpful.
William, I've noticed that some of the significant others are listening to this program. What advice would you have them metaphysically understand to maybe either really help themselves to cope with their addicted spouse or significant other?
First answer is focus on yourself. When you live with an addicted person, it's easy to get wrapped up in their addiction. It's easy to think, I have to help Eric with this. I have to help Eric with that. I have to be a part of this healing process, and I have to do this, I have to do that. I would actually do the opposite. I would let him handle his own shit, and I would take care of myself.
Wise words.
Is it really? I mean, you can be supportive. And if you, for instance, are going to therapy together, that's another thing I would recommend on a practical note, is a third party, whether it's a regular therapist or your clergy or whomever. I would greatly encourage that couple to have a mediator of some kind.
Right. And actually, my wife and I we did premarital counseling before we got married. It was so helpful that we never stopped. We still go about once a month, maybe every 2 months. It's really helpful. So anyway, we covered a lot of ground here today. So we'll wrap up and talking about needing help. If you need help, you could reach out to William or myself. William, you want to tell everybody how they can get a hold of you?
My phone number is 314-403-4744. On Facebook, I'm Happy Medium Will.
And you got a website?
I have a website. It's mediumwill.com.
Awesome. And if you want to reach me, of course, at powerfuleric.com. Thanks for listening today. And remember that you are designed for accomplishment, you are engineered for success, and you are endowed with the seeds of greatness.
Thanks for listening. If you're struggling with porn or sex addiction, then contact Eric at powerfuleric.com.